I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
The guy says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other.
Okay, so ignore the text on screen there because we're not talking about a CNN anchor, but that was Representative Nancy Mace during a House Oversight and Accountability Committee hearing on the Biden administration and its policies. Representative Nancy Mace clearly was ready to have a discussion when a discussion came up about the pronunciation of Kamala Harris's name, and was ready to enter flirty text messages that she received from Professor Michael Eric Dyson, who is a professor of African American Studies at Vanderbilt University, as proof that mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name isn't racist. But let's back up a little bit because this is all seemingly like confusing and multi-layered. Where it began was that Representative Mace of South Carolina was on a CNN panel with Michael Eric Dyson back in August. And things got heated when Nancy Mace said that she can pronounce Kamala Harris's name any way she wants. Take a look.
Talk about rerun Kamala's.
Oh, you had it right. You almost got it.
I will say Kamala's name any way that I want to.
No,
but
you mispronounced her and you also misjudged her.
I just did, and I'll do it again.
Mispronouncing her name. That's a refusal to acknowledge her humanity.
If I purposely mispronounced your name, that would not be appropriate.
Policies.
So she almost forgot the wrong way to pronounce it, which is what the right is doing now. So that was that moment. And then Michael Eric Dyson takes a moment to sort of scold and explain why pronouncing Kamala Harris's name wrong is offensive. Take a look.
This congresswoman is a wonderful human being, but when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
So now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
No, you don't have to intend racism to accomplish it.
You are intending that
your disrespect
racist,
of Kamala Harris is part and parcel.
So there you have it. Things got testy, whether you agree with one or the other, doesn't matter. Things got a little bit testy. But according to Nancy Mace, it seems like the two exchanged text messages after that exchange that were a lot less testy. In fact, they were a little, dare we say, flirty. So let's look at the text messages here. It is a photo shared by Michael Eric Dyson with the bubble on the right is Nancy Mace. A photo of them together that seems like it's taken in the CNN lobby. And it says, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together. Laughy face, kissy face. Then she responds, ha 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 ha. And then he responds, well, your gorgeousness makes the photos. So there's that. Winky face. A little thirsty, are we, Professor? And then finally, Nancy Mace just had to sort of go completely, finish the guy on X and publish this video of him actually asking for yet another photo with Nancy Mace before the CNN panel began. She tweeted this out: Michael Eric Dyson caught in 4K, and then here is the video. So they're chummy, they're taking photos. Look, when I first saw this, I was viscerally disturbed. It shows you what sort of, glad hand, fake antagonism happens on CNN panels. They call each other, racist, but then behind the scenes, they're like taking photos together. But then I just, guys, I feel like he's just barking up the wrong tree. And now it is part of official congressional record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyone jump in?
Yeah. It's like, what kind of like sleeping with the enemy drama is this? I feel like she just wanted to know that someone thinks she's gorgeous out there. Her gorgeousness, that's a weird word. Maybe this could be the start of something new and fun for the two of them. A lot of sexual tension can be born from dissent. It's a plot in many a rom-com and many a political intrigue show? Who knows? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Who knows what kind of conversations they had after that interaction and on CNN? Maybe they came to a place of understanding, and maybe they're both growing from their friendship. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a happy read.
So yeah. So first, Michael Eric Dyson is a CNN contributor, not anchor. Secondly, look, I think that pronouncing the name wrong is, I don't think it's racist. But if you do it on purpose, are you doing it for racial reasons or just a disrespecter? And I would say, I wouldn't assume that it was on purpose. A lot of people mispronounce that, except for the fact that on tape, Nancy Mace knows how to pronounce it. She pronounced it correctly the first time, and then was like, oh, right. I forgot I'm supposed to pronounce it the other way. So it sounds more foreign or African or whatever they think in their crazy minds, right? And so that was kind of a little bit funny. One of the things I get out of this is never trust a right winger, and also never trust a politician. Also, really don't trust anyone. Like Michael Eric Dyson, are you nuts? Like sending flirty texts to like a Republican politician who's constantly thirsty for the spotlight? She's gonna use that for the spotlight. Of course. I mean, that is super naive to do that. I can't believe he did that. Now, finally you get to the really interesting question. If you think someone is racist, is it still okay to try to hook up with them?
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Depends on what your kink is. I mean, we're talking about kinks now.
Who has a racist kink? I don't know. Like when I was single, I was dating in Texas, and so that was weird for me. And you just end up on dates with a lot of Republican guys because they all work in oil and gas, and then they see like a brown woman and they have a thing for it. This is a weird thing to talk about, to be honest. But what I realized—
That's real though. That's real.
It is real, and it's awkward and it's very uncomfortable. But, there's always a line, you're like, you know what, I can't like hang out with you anymore because like, you have these weird beliefs that I maybe wasn't aware of at first. But I was talking to some people, Gen Z people, younger than me, right? And they're, in college and they're dating and they're meeting all these new people. And one of them just kind of mentioned, oh yeah, I was dating this one guy, but he's kind of racist, but like, it was fine. I didn't know how to respond to that. I was like, I don't think that that's like a thing that you just kind of deal with, and she was, the person she was referring to as white and the person I was talking to was not white. And it was like, I don't think that's a thing that is just like, oh, I really don't like the way he cuts his toenails or something. You know what I mean? It's not on the same level. I feel like there should be a boundary, and racism probably is where that boundary should be.
Yeah, I just realized my hypocrisy in the middle of this conversation. Or my double standard, because the minute you guys started talking about your perspective, I was like, oh yeah, ew, no, why would you have, hook up with a racist guy? That doesn't make sense. But I hooked up with someone who was racist and didn't care at all. And so they were racist against Muslims. And she was like, you're Muslim, I don't get it. Why don't you have like a beard? And she had like every stereotype you've ever imagined. And she believed it. She's like, I don't understand why you're none of those things. I'm like, because they're freaking stereotypes. Anyways, let's go back to your place.
Anyway, less talk. It's also just weird to be like fetishized, but who, know.
Yeah.
I want to just say we don't have this graphic, but Michael Eric Dyson responded. He had a longer thing on Instagram, but he said this in his defense. He said, the ridiculous lies told by Nancy Mace in the effort to smear my name because of her anger at being checked for her insensitive disregard for the VP. I had no intent with her to do anything but be nice, and her white women's tears and mendacity are all in the service of lies and distortion. I was wrong about one thing. She is a bigot and a racist. So
mendacity, don't hear that word very often.
No, but that one, it feels truer to me. Here's my thing about this. I had no intent with her to do anything but be nice. Come on.
Nah, not buying it.
Come on.
Okay.
First of all, there's just no way. Like that text, okay, wanting to take two photos with her, then calling her like, I think you're a very nice woman, and kind of almost touching her in that panel. I don't know if you saw, I've seen it a lot of times now.
Yeah, I did notice
almost
that.
touching her.
Yeah.
And then saying, we look good together, kissy emoji. And then your gorgeousness helps. Winky face? Bro, you are clearly trying to spit game.
Everyone knows what that is.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, every woman had seen that before. Maybe not even women. Like people have seen, we know what that is. We know what that language is. We know what you wanted. And it's very easy to send those messages and be like, that's not what I meant. Okay. If you say so. No,
yeah, but it's just so embarrassing also to be put on blast. Like if it was just someone you just called basically a racist, they're like, yeah, but she could get it. Like, come on. Come on.
So look, I probably agree ideologically 95% with Michael Eric Dyson. You know, I don't know what the number is, but it's a high number. But I think he's wrong on a couple of counts here. First of all, you want to say somebody looks great today? You've been friends with them for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But you just met them and you just, are having a debate, and the next thing you know, you take the picture, next thing you know, you're talking about how gorgeous they are. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out, right? And then I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I don't like that tweet he did at that. I mean, I know he's embarrassed, and she shouldn't have called him out like that publicly. I think that's totally wrong. Yeah. But that the white women's tears, what are you getting into her race for? You're the one who's hitting on her. Now all of a sudden she's back to a racist and a bigot, etc. So I didn't like that tweet at all.
Yeah, it's also weird because it's like, what if she was receptive to your advances? Then what? You know what I mean? Like,
if she was receptive, we wouldn't be having this conversation, 100%. Right? She wouldn't have leaked anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And like he wouldn't have been like, well, you are a bigot and a racist. But if she was, it's just you don't know. No one's siding with Nancy Mace. Cenk said it. I think that is the analysis. What are you doing this to a like rat effing Republican who wanted to stage herself getting hit by a Jan 6er so she could be a hero? Like this woman will do anything for the limelight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very poorly played on all fronts by Michael Eric Dyson. Otherwise, a smart guy, but guys who are smart otherwise can get awfully dumb when it gets to women. So we've seen that happen many times. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.